Hi, I'm Donna. Today's class will be, we'll take it slowly, but really keep us moving in every direction. So really great for feeling energetic, even though we're going to ease into it. So we're going to start laying down, and maybe just a blanket will be all you need. On your back with your feet hip width, your legs parallel. Just letting yourself settle, arriving in your space, on your mat, in your body. Enjoying your awareness of your breathing, of how you feel. And if it feels okay for your hips, bring your feet into Baddha-Konasana position. So soles of the feet together, knees out wide. Taking notice of where it seems easy to let go of tension and where it seems to be a little more difficult. Take your breath to those places in your body, those pockets of tension. Be curious. Good, and then stretch your arms overhead. Palms facing, arms parallel, and give the sides of your waist a big stretch. Good, and then interlock your fingers gently behind your head. We're going to squeeze the pelvic floor and squeeze the front belly to support the back. Your back is arching just a little bit away from the floor. You're going to pick your feet up off the floor, pick your elbows off the floor, your upper back off the floor, and see if you can reach your elbows towards your knees. Good, and then laying back down. Just take a couple of breaths to really relax again. Good. So squeezing pelvic floor, squeezing belly, lifting lower body, upper body as much as you can. We're squeezing the belly to the back and then laying back down. Good again. So lifting lower body, upper body, and then laying back down. Just take a moment to rest. Now you can keep going like that, or you can try releasing the arms and legs and reaching them up straight, reaching your fingers up to touch your toes, and then laying your legs down straight and your arms down straight overhead. Good. Curl in, straighten your legs, straighten your arms, reach up, and then lower down nice and straight. Keep the front core reaching into the back body. Curl in, reach legs up, reach arms up. Good, and laying back down. Curl in, reach up, lowering down. And one more. Curling in, reaching up, and lowering down. Good. Bring your feet back into Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, knees out wide. Reach your arms overhead again. And give your abdomen a big stretch, nice and long. Neck relaxed, throat relaxed. Good. We're going to come up to sitting. So you can just cross your feet at your ankles and roll up, or roll to your right and use your hands to support. Bring your fingers facing forward underneath your shoulders. Good, and we're going to bring the legs up, or the feet up off the floor. Good. Arch your lower back forward a little and squeeze your belly to support. Squeeze the pelvic floor. Good. We're going to take the knees out wide so the soles of the feet are together, and you're going to take your left knee towards the floor on the left side, but turn to look over your right shoulder. Good. Come up to center. Right knee to the floor on the right side. Turn to look over your left shoulder. Come up to center. So the lower back is lifting, belly is squeezing to the lower back. Keep the chest nice and lifted. One more each side. Good work. And then holding on behind your knees. You can put your feet on the floor if you need to. You can keep your legs raised. Let it ease the lower back forward, squeeze the belly. Good. Bring the hands into prayer position in front of your heart. Good. And we're going to squeeze the knees into the chest and reach the arms forward. And then back to the chest. Let the legs out. Squeezing forward. Nice work. And then laying down, rolling down. Going to stretch out through your arms, stretch out through your legs. Lengthen the abdomen. Relaxing your throat, relaxing your neck. And we're going to come up into all fours position. You can bend in your arms and legs, roll to your right, or rolling up by crossing your ankles. And then taking your hips back to the soles of your feet as much as your knees allow. Forward Virasana. Good. Bring your elbows down onto the floor and lift your hips so you can walk your knees back. You're going to have your lower legs parallel, forearms parallel, and then start to ease your chest towards the floor. Just listening to what your shoulders need here. Find where the breath reaches to in your body. The obvious places, the subtle places. Let the armpits lengthen, the chest broaden, the neck relax. Good, and then coming up onto all fours. And we're going to let the hips sway from side to side. Good. Now, you can make that a little bit stronger the further back you walk your knees and the further forward you have your shoulders over your wrists. You might even like to take the knees off the floor if you tuck your toes under, so you're in a plank position. So don't do it. If it feels too strong, just put your knees back on the floor. Good. And then we're going to, from all fours position, so knees onto the floor, just arch your spine up, arch your spine down. So have your wrists under your shoulders if that feels okay, or a little further forward of your shoulders. You might like to wriggle into that posture a little, feeling the length either side of your spine. Good. We're going to tuck those toes under and hover your knees just off the floor. Squeeze your belly, squeeze the pelvic floor. Press your fingerprints, the base of your index fingers. Good, and then lift your knees away from the floor and reach your chest towards your legs. Your hips up high. Find your way into downward facing dog pose. And And try swaying the hips again from side to side. Observe where that lengthens in your body. Good, and then we're going to lower the elbows down onto the floor and lift back up. If that's really too strong, it's just not working, just put your knees down onto the floor and do the same thing. Good, otherwise we've got the knees off the floor, we're taking the hips up and back. Try to have the elbows staying shoulder width when you bring them down and up. So your forearms stay parallel. Moving the chest towards the front of the legs. Put your neck so it feels comfortable. You can look forward, but don't squash the back of the neck. Good, and then straightening the arms, stretching back into downward facing dog pose. Good, and then knees down to the floor. Forward Virasana. Good, look forward at your hands, elbows out wide, bring your nose and your chest onto the floor. We're going to lift up into a locust posture. You might need to keep your feet on the floor to start with, to see how you go, lifting the upper body. If it feels fine to lift your legs as well. Keep the back of the neck long, so reach the hands back, palms are facing up, legs are parallel, arms by the sides. Good, hands underneath the shoulders and lift the breastbone, look up, reach up with the torso, good, and then we're going to come back up into all fours, arch your spine up to the ceiling. Good, tuck the toes under, knees are hovering just off the floor. Keep the back of the neck long, lift the front core, inhale, exhale, downward facing dog pose. Press your heels. Good, knees to the floor. Forward Virasana. Inhale, look forward at your hands, elbows out wide, chest along the floor. Good, locust pose. Lift up, nice and high. So your arms by the sides of the body, palms facing up, legs are parallel. Lift as much of the front of the legs off the floor as you can. If you have to have your feet on the floor, that's fine. Good, and then release, hands underneath the shoulders. Lift the breastbone, lift the ribs off the floor, look up. Good, and as you exhale, arch up into an all fours position. Arch down. Tuck your toes under, knees are just off the floor. Good, downward facing dog pose. Good, forward Virasana. Knees a little wider than your chest, make room. Good, and one more sequence like that. Look forward, elbows out wide, chest moves through the hands. Locust position. Lift up as much of your body off the floor as you can. Hands underneath the shoulders. Lift the breastbone, Bhujangasana. You might be able to lift up onto straight arms. If they're bent, keep the elbows in. Arch up into an all fours position. Let the spine arch down. Tuck the toes under, hover the knees just off the floor. Really press back through the soles of the feet or the heels, stretching the toes. Lifting the front core. Inhale. Exhale, lift the kneecaps off the floor. Downward facing dog pose. Press the heels. Shoulders are wide, collarbones are wide. Neck relaxed. Knees to the floor for forward Virasana. Toes touching, easing your bottom back onto your heels or towards them. Feeling where the breath reaches to, where the breath is obvious in your body. Good. And then we're going to come up into downward facing dog pose. And step your right knee to your right wrist. You can flatten down the front of your left foot and slide that left leg back. So we're going to lift up into this preparation for pigeon pose. Be right up onto your fingertips, making that little back bend. Draw the shoulder blades down so your neck feels long. Letting the hips sink under their weight a little closer to the floor, but be level to the floor, so feel like you're level across your sacrum. Good, and stepping back into downward facing dog pose, so tuck your toes under. And stepping your left knee to your left wrist. So you flatten out your right foot. That leg goes straight back. We're going to come right up onto fingertips as though your hands are wrapped around tennis balls and you're squeezing. Draw the shoulder blades down so your neck feels long. Lift the breastbone. Good. Hands down flat. Tuck your toes under so you can step back into downward facing dog pose. Good, and we're going to step the right foot forward between the hands. If it feels like you're not going to reach when you do that, you can take your knees onto the floor and then take your hands off the floor so you can step forward. And we're going to come into a lunge position here. Good. You can stay with your hands on the floor if you need to. You can lift them up onto your knee. And if you can reach to do that, you can help to lift the breastbone. We're going to let the left hip sink forward a little more. If you really have your balance here, I'm going to keep the back heel pressing towards the floor with the feet are parallel, face forward. Good, so if you have your balance, bring your hands in front of your heart. Even reach up, look up. Good, bring your hands, palms of the hands together. We're going to reach the left elbow to the outside of the right knee and lift the breastbone to meet the thumbs. Looking back over your right shoulder. Good, and then release and hands down onto the floor. So you can drop your back knee to step back or just step back from here, right leg back. Letting the breath flow deeply right into the belly. Good, and we're going to step the left foot forward so you can either just go straight from here or knees gently onto the floor, hands off the floor. Stepping the left foot forward. So you're in your lunge position. You can keep your hands on the floor here and work in the posture here. You can lift your hands up onto your knee. Help yourself to lift your belly, lift your breastbone, draw the shoulder blades down. Let the pelvis sink a little closer to the floor. Good, so feet are parallel, right foot faces forward. If you have your balance, you can bring your hands in front of your heart and reach the arms up by your ears. Look up. Press the back heel. Lift the pelvic floor, lift the front core. Good, and then bring the hands together. Bring the right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Lift the breastbone so that you can turn the ribs so your thumbs are in front of your heart. Looking back over your left shoulder, draw the shoulder blades down, lengthen both sides of the neck, press into the back heel. Good, and then release and bring your hands down onto the floor. You can gently drop your back knee to step back or straight back into downward facing dog pose. Good. So just check that your feet are hip width and we're going to pedal the heels right down into the floor. Good. Lift the hips up and back. Lift the kneecaps, the quadriceps. Good. And then we're going to take tiny little steps forward and take as many as you can, pressing your heels right into the floor. We try to keep the chest moving towards the front of the legs. And at some point, you're going to run out of room. So roll up so that it feels easeful for you. Good. So when you're ready, bend your knees, roll up, look up. And as you exhale, you're arriving in Tadasana. I'm going to face forward. So stand with your feet underneath your hips. Feel the power in the front of the legs lifting. The more you can lift, the more you can lift the front of the pelvis, and the longer the lower back will settle. Good, and use your front core to support. Feel spacious around your heart, your shoulders, your neck. Upper arms rolling out, palms in. Close your eyes and feel what it's like to have your feet directly under your hips. Your legs are parallel, your knees facing forward. And then step your feet together, so inside edges together. And with your eyes closed, you might just find yourself sway to center. Just feel the distribution of weight around the soles of the feet. Lengthen your toes. Press the outside edges of your feet, the inside edges of your feet. And lift the top of the feet so you can feel the arches of your feet lifting away from the floor. Good. And open your eyes. You're going to bring your hands in front of your heart and turn your left toes out at 90 degrees. You're just going to rest your heel onto your ankle and see how you go balancing on your right foot. So if you're really wobbly, you're going to keep this leg here, and you can keep your toes on the floor if you need them and just keep trying to take them off. Good, but if you really have your balance, you can try resting the leg under your knee or above your knee. See if you can still feel that nice distribution of weight across your one foot that's on the floor. And the hips level to the floor. Squeeze the front core to support the back as you lift the back. And we still want to be lifting powerfully the front of that right hip so the back is long. Good. And then reaching your arms up if you have your balance. Vrksasana or tree pose. Feel yourself reaching. Good, and then release. Feet back down together. Just close your eyes for a moment. Feeling both feet onto the floor. The lift in the front of the legs, that powerful lift, the front core supporting the back core as the spine lengthens. Good, and then we're going to turn the right toes out at 90 degrees. And just check out your balance. You might want to open your eyes here. See how you go. So you can stay working here with your toes near to the floor. You can try taking your foot up onto the inside of your leg. Put it either under your knee or above, but not onto your knee. Too much pressure. We feel that nice distribution of weight across the standing foot. Lengthen your toes. Try not to grip your toes. Try to keep the pelvis level to the floor. And lift the front of the right hip so that there's length in the lower back. Use your core. Use the pelvic floor. Good, and if you have your balance, take your arms overhead. Nice and straight, and you're reaching like a tree. Throat relaxed, face relaxed. Good, and then release. Feet together. And you can either walk your feet gently out to wide-legged position or jump. And we're going to turn the toes in, heels out. Prasarita Padottanasana. Take your hands at your hips and try to lift the front of the thighs, lift the front of the hips again. And we're going to lift the belly, lift the breastbone, and make a little back bend looking up. Good, and as you exhale, we're going to bend at the front hip crease and reaching forward. If it's really strong in your back, and it makes your back arch up to the ceiling, bend your knees so that you can make a valley shape in your lower back. Otherwise, if you're fine with straight legs, keep them straight. Try to keep that valley shape, and then take the hands down onto the floor. If you don't quite reach, bending your knees and putting your hands onto your legs is fine. Going to lift the breastbone. Good, and as you exhale, reach the top of the head forward. Try to keep the valley shape in your lower back. You can try moving a little into that feeling of the spine arching up and then arching down, so you can increase the length in your lower back. Lift the kneecaps, lift the quadriceps. Feel the feet thoroughly distributing the weight across the balls of the feet, across the heels. The toes are lengthening. Good. And then walk your hands out in front. So you're in a big stretch for your arms, your shoulders. Keep your shoulders wide, collarbones wide. Good. Walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. And turn your toes out now and bend your knees a little so your toes match the direction that your knees face out. So if you've got your hands on the floor, it's a little easy because you've got something to hold on to. And we're just going to straighten one leg and bend the other knee side to side. If you're not quite reaching the floor, you can do the same thing with your hands on your knees. You just go as far as your knees want to go. Good. So getting as low down as you can with your hips and just taking the stretch you need in your legs. Good, and then coming back up to center, so we'll bend the knees to do that and bring your hands in front of your heart and just try the same thing, but take your elbow down onto your knees. You come back to center. Just make sure your toes go in the same direction that your knees point when you bend them. Otherwise it's too strong on your ankles. Good, and then we're going to hold both knees bent. Toes follow the knees. Try to tuck the tailbone under. Lift the belly, lift the breastbone, reach your arms up. Good, and we're going to sway a little in the spine. Lift the pelvic floor. Good. Bring your hands back in front of your heart. Left elbow, left knee. Come to center. Right elbow, right knee. Side to side. You can start to straighten the leg with that movement like we did before. Good, and then coming back to center. Straightening up your legs, reach up, make a star shape. Good, and you can jump in or heel toe, whatever feels easeful in your body. Feet together. Tadasana. Okay. Face the front of your mat. Tadasana. You're going to take your right leg back and make it a big step. So I'm going to try and land, not be too wobbly. Wobbles are fine, helps us recover. All right, so you're going to lower the back knee down towards the floor. Some people are going to reach the floor. Just make sure you've got a big enough distance so when you bend down, this knee doesn't come too far in front of your ankle. Okay, so knees down to the floor. We'll come up and down a couple of times. Good. Now we're going to step forward with the right leg, but you're going to fold it up in front of you and balance onto your left leg. Squeeze the knee into the chest. Keep the pelvis level. Good, and then replace your foot. Feet together, Tadasana. Hands at the heart. Good. So we're going to pick up the left leg and step back. Nice big steps. Remember, you need a big distance. You can wiggle around to adjust. So you've got your balance. Dropping the back knee to the floor or towards the floor. Good, and then we're going to step forward. See if you can catch that knee in front of you and squeeze the leg up into the chest. Good, and then releasing. Tadasana. Release your arms. Good. Lift your arms to the ceiling, look up, Urdhva Hastasana. As you exhale, Uttanasana, bending forward. So you only go so far as you can keep that sense of the valley shape in your lower back. So some people reach the floor, some people holding their legs. And then try moving all the way along your spine. You can wiggle from side to side, lengthening the left ribs forward, the right ribs forward. Find your way into the posture so that your sit bones are over your heels. Your legs are as straight as they will go. Your back is as long as you can let it be. Neck relaxed. Chest wide, collarbones wide. Good. And we're going to sit down onto the floor from here. So see how you go. You can use your hands. Use your wisdom. And we're going to do a forward bend, Janu Shirsasana. You might like to sit onto your blanket if you have one. The higher your hips are when you sit on the floor, the easier to sit up tall. So you can have 1 or 2 blankets. Maybe you need 3. All right, we're going to stretch the legs out straight. Take your left leg and hug it in and let the knee fall out to the side. If this was really uncomfortable for your hip, also some padding under your knee would be good. I just haven't got any with me. And if you have ease reaching your knee onto the floor, try and have a little gap between your foot and your thigh. Great. We're going to take the left arm behind so you can open the chest and then reach forward. And I'm reaching to the little toe side of the foot. And maybe I don't reach the foot, maybe I'm reaching the leg. Just reach as far as you can and lift your breastbone. Draw the shoulder blades back and turning to your right side, looking over your right shoulder. Feel the shape of your spine, and we really want to try and get the lower back to be arching forward so that you feel spacious around your heart, your chest. Good. And then we're going to release the right arm and sweep it over as well and cross your arms, and you're going to be holding maybe your leg, maybe you're here. Good. Find even length for both sides of your neck. Tuck your chin slightly into your chest so you feel the length of your spine right up to the base of the skull. Letting the belly hollow, the front of the right hip crease hollow as you lengthen your abdomen. Reach the left waist a little longer, the left ribs a little longer. Good, and then releasing your arms. You can come out the same way you went in. And then straightening out through your left leg and bending in your right leg. Just give it a nice hug in. Great. And then right knee towards the floor. You could take padding if you need. If it easily reaches the floor, you can have a little gap between your foot and your leg. Good. And we're going to reach the right arm this time. Reaching to the little toe side of the foot or to the leg or the thigh, so that you can keep that sense of length in your spine. Easing your lower back forward, drawing the shoulder blades down. Keeping both sides of the neck long. Turning the ribs, turning the heart. Reaching as far forward as your body wants to go, but don't lose that nice posture in your back. It's more important than how far forward you reach. Good. And then we're going to reach the left arm as well. Reach over as far as you can. Good. Find that evenness for both sides of the neck. You're lifting and lengthening the belly, reaching the right waist forward, reaching the right ribs forward. Draw the shoulder blades back. Hollowing the left abdomen, left hip. Good. And then you can come out of that posture the same way that you went in. Nice. Let's revisit boat pose. We're going to balance again. You can be up on your softer blanket. Lift your lower back. Squeeze your front core to support your lower back. Good. And then feet down onto the floor. And we're going to lay down. Stretch out your legs straight, stretch out your arms. Lengthen your back, lengthen your front core, side waist. Just letting yourself be really nice and long here. Good. And then bring your legs in bent. You're going to have your arms down beside your torso and lift your hips off the floor and lift them as high as you can. So we can make a few adjustments here. And the first one is you're always looking after the length of your neck. So see if you can lengthen the back of the neck a little bit more. You don't want to feel squashed in the throat, so soften around the throat. If you press into your feet powerfully, and you want your feet to be parallel, so the toes are pointing straight forward, not out to the side. Press into your feet powerfully and see if you can lift your thighs, lengthen the front of the thighs. Then you're going to get much more lift. Good. And we're going to have the shoulders feeling nice and relaxed. We're holding. Try and feel even distribution of the weight across the balls of your feet and the heels of the feet. Lengthen the toes. Good. And when you lower down, try one bone and then the next and then the next and then the next. You can even wiggle a little bit the hips from side to side, lowering your lower back into the floor and then completely relaxing. Okay, so you're going to do the same thing. If you want to lift your hips higher, you can walk your feet in closer. You can even come right up onto your tiptoes or the balls of the feet. So just adjust for what you need. We're going to lift again, but paying attention to the length in the neck, a relaxed feeling in the throat, nice neutral shoulders here, but really powerfully lifting the thighs, the hips, pressing into the feet evenly, feet are parallel. Good. You might even be able to reach to put your hands underneath So because my feet are too far away, I can't fit my forearms underneath. If I walk in closer, I can lift higher. Only do that if you can keep that sense of ease in your neck, your throat, feels okay in your wrists. Really lift the thighs powerfully, lift, lift, lift. Good, and then you're going to release, and as you release, take your time, bone by bone. Reaching, easing down onto the floor, ease your lower back into the floor, and then put your feet where you can be thoroughly relaxed in your spine, your belly. Good, and last one, just whatever feels really nice for your back bend here. Try to bring your elbows in as close as you can if you're supporting under your waist, but keep the shoulders nice and wide, the neck long, throat long. Press into your feet, lift the thighs. Keep the legs parallel, watch the knees, don't want to go out to the side. And to come down, really take your time, enjoy that discovery in your spine. Good, hug your knees into your chest. Just rocking a little or simply holding them stationary and whatever feels really nourishing. Good. Stretch your legs out straight. Put your left, I should do it the other way. Put your right heel on your left toes. Okay, so your feet are stacked up vertically. Let the feet fall gently to the left side. And you can let your whole body roll with that, except for your right shoulder. So you're going to keep your right shoulder onto the floor. We want to let the right hip roll across to the left. So you determine how much space you make for your spine from the floor. And if you look over your right shoulder, just let your throat be relaxed, your neck lengthen with the twist, your face relaxed. But reach your feet as far as you can, lift your hip as far as you need. Good, and then coming back to center. Recentering, and then stack your left heel on your right toes. So your feet are going to go to the floor on the right and let your body roll with that movement, but try to keep your left shoulder blade onto the floor and you're looking in that direction. So straight legs. Reach your feet as far as you can. Lift your left hip as far as you need, letting the belly lengthen. Shoulders relaxed, neck relaxed, face relaxed. Good. And then releasing and come back to center. Hug your knees in to your chest again. Feel the breath right down into the belly, into your lower back. Good, and one more little twist. We're going to just bring the feet together, knees together. Lift your hips and swing them to the left. And take your knees to the floor on the right. And you turn to look over your left shoulder. Both shoulder blades were really relaxed onto the floor. It's the kind of posture where you can be very passive. Just let the shape of the pose take its effect on your body. Or you can work to stretch more actively, reaching your left knee further across. Take what you need. Good, and then coming back up to center. Lift the hips and swing them across to the right side. And knees to the floor on the left. Both shoulder blades onto the floor. Deciding whether you need to be passive or active. And then gently coming back to center. For happy baby pose, lift your feet off the floor. Take your arms on the inside of your legs and hold your feet. And you bring your soles of the feet parallel to the ceiling and your knees towards the floor, outside your shoulders. Close your eyes and feel the nice width this makes across your pelvis, across the belly. And then releasing, and you're going to take your legs out to straight. Let's lengthen your lower back. Slide your legs out. If you stretch right out through the soles of your feet, and then just let your legs roll out, whatever shape the muscles take them. Good. But just check in that you're even, both sides of your sacrum, both shoulder blades. Let them sit nice and flat against your back ribs. Arms out wide enough so you can feel relaxed in your armpits. Just making sure you're on the center of the back of the head. So your neck gets to relax evenly, both sides. Be curious about the effects of the practice in your body. And giving yourself time here to settle, for the nervous system to process all of that new information. For you to let go. Let go. When you're ready to come out of your relaxation, take it nice and slow. And take the feeling of the practice with you. Namaste.